I worked in different capacities and then, served as different roles actually, different organizations, worked for different, Fortune 500 companies actually, for different clients. Okay. So overall of 14 years of experience into this IT sector and into data science, I'm having 7+ years of experience. And coming to my academics, I hold some master's degree in data science from IIT. And so that was about some quick introduction on myself. So coming to this data science, AI and Python. So before we discuss, let me give you some various examples. And first of all, let us try to understand what exactly is Python. Then we'll dive deep into data science and applications of AI. What exactly is data science? What do data scientists do? What are the roles of a data scientist? What are the applications of data science, and so why data science is important, why organizations are relying on data science, and what are the applications and implementations of AI. So why AI is some emerging field actually. So why they're terming it, coining it as some important technology of the decade. Let us discuss all these things now. Okay. So before this one, let us discuss some quick introduction on Python. So what exactly is Python? So if you ask me what exactly is Python, I would say it is a very simple language. Unlike Java, C, C++, it's also some kind of programming language, a general purpose programming language. So where it is oftenly used in, developing or building some different kinds of applications. Like say, for example, it can be developing some kind of web application or mobile application, or even some kind of gaming development, or say some kind of high-end applications like banking applications, or even if you look at in today's modern days, so people are employing Python or using implementation of Python in various different fields. Like, okay, now if you take the case of data science and high-end AI applications, right? Okay, so there Python implementation is lot. Okay, so because we are having different frameworks, which are developed on Python track. Okay, so now, so Python is a general purpose language. So Python is a programming language as well as a scripting language. So Python is also called as interpreted language. Okay, so let us try to understand. So what exactly is the difference between a programming and a scripting language now? Okay, so in other sense, in simple terms, so what do you do in a programming language? What do you do? What is a program generally? Okay, so a program is nothing but, it is some kind of lines of some sequence of lines, of code actually, what you write to implement a particular task. Okay, so let me, okay. Now, whereas coming to scripting, like, okay, scripting is some kind of, in simple terms, I'll tell you what exactly is the difference between a program and a scripting. So, in program, what you do generally, and especially in Python, okay, so you write some set of lines of code and you execute it to perform a certain task actually. But coming to scripting, like, it can be used for various purposes. Like, say, for example, it can be used to automate some kind of things. Okay, it can be used to, process some kind of batch files. Batch files in the sense, running different files parallelly. Executing different files parallelly. Okay, so that is the meaning of scripting actually. Okay, so in a sense, in a broader sense, the program is one kind of task. Scripting can be used for multiple tasks at the same time. It's like some kind of automation kind of thing. So even in today's world, if you see in DevOps side, I hope, you people are, having some awareness of DevOps implementation or DevOps life cycle, right? Okay, so there, people are using Python in order to automate some kind of Terraform, some kind of automation kind of actually. Okay, so like it makes sense. Okay, so it depends upon your kind of requirement, what kind of requirement, and what is your purpose actually, and what for what kind of purpose you are using this scripting actually. Okay, so so the man behind Python, so is Guido van Rossum. So he's the main person who has developed Python actually. So he's the founder. Say for example, he's the main person who has developed Python. But I'll tell you what exactly is Python, why he developed Python actually. So Guido van Rossum is presently right now associated with Microsoft. So he's working for Microsoft. So if you speak about the history, right? Actually, I did not thought of building Python actually. So I'll tell you what exactly is the history behind this. Okay. So Python, dating, it dates back to 1980s actually. So, but it's started its implementation in the year 1989 actually. Okay. So, he gave it a name based on some famous TV show actually in some Netherlands. I mean, that is called as Monty Carlos Python. Okay, so Monty Python's Flying Circus. I mean, okay, so he named after this one. Okay, now I'll tell you. I mean, what exactly? I mean, why he created Python. So actually, he was working for some kind of project called as MOIB actually. So it is an operating systems project where he was developing some kind of OS platform actually. So I mean, while developing that platform, right? So he was developing some. I mean, he was writing some kind of code in C language actually. Okay, and now I mean, what is the pitfall or the drawback of writing some huge, heavy lines of code in C, right? Okay, so if you compare Python with other programming languages, right? I mean, not. I'm not saying that I mean those programming languages are not worth of it, but coming to Python, right? So Python is a straightforward language. I mean, okay. So speaking in a sense, I mean, it's very simple to use and easy to understand. But coming in, I mean, if you code the same code of I mean, lines, I mean, in C or Java or some other kind of programming language, right? So you need to write some heavy lines of code. I mean, multiple lines of code. Now, say for example, if at all I want to display something, hi, welcome to a data science and AI demo. Now, if you use this, I mean, if at all I want to print the same line of code, right? I might have to write multiple lines of code, whereas it is not the case in Python. So he thought, I mean, it was too heavier or too, I mean, say for example, I mean, coming to the debugging part, right? It is very risky, guys. I mean, okay. So again, you have to start from the scratch. You have to find out what exactly has happened, where is going wrong, and what are the pitfalls of that one. Okay, so that's why I mean, he thought of creating a language which can, I mean, where he can where it can automatically interpret all the bytecode and it can give the result actually. Okay, so that was his main idea behind Python development. Okay, so now why do people use Python? So people are using Python in order to implement different kinds of tasks actually. So it depends upon your requirement, as I told you. Now, say for example, if at all you want to develop some kind of web apps, or say for example, a simple website, or mobile apps, or a gaming development, or you want to use it in some kind of automation kind of stuff, scripting. Okay. So, I mean, based upon your purpose, right? I mean, based upon your scenario, or based upon your requirement, you can use it for different kinds of purposes. So, unlike Java, I mean, it also, I mean, supports and includes some kind of OOPS kind of concepts actually. Okay, object oriented. Okay, so it's indentation. Indentation is nothing but, I mean, in other programming language, you don't have this concept actually. So indentation is nothing but writing that block of code which belongs to that particular task itself. Okay, so it's free because Python is open source. I mean, freeware actually. So you don't need to pay anything for it. I mean, you can use it for any kind of task actually. And because of its robustness and because of its easy to use and because of its large community also, Python has a large community, guys. That means the developers, I mean, who are contributing to the development of Python is very large actually. Now you can see, I mean, Python today almost has almost 200 plus libraries which are supporting in different kinds of applications. Now, right from AI, data science, even if you look at blockchain, I mean, okay, so today people are speaking about blockchain, right? I mean, say for example, Bitcoin, okay, Ethereum, okay, kind of applications, okay. So in cryptocurrencies, what I mean to say is, okay, so even if you take the case of DevOps, I mean, okay, so where you are automating the SDLC process, software development life cycle, okay, or say for example, whether it can be some kind of gaming or web app or different kinds of applications. So people are using Python a lot actually, okay, and mostly people, I mean, organizations are going, I mean, implementing Python. One thing is it's open source actually, and it has a large developer community and it has a large supporting community actually, okay, and there are multiple libraries, I mean, where I can use it to build different kinds of applications. Okay, if you look at the scope of Python, right? Okay, so we can use Python. I mean, today Python is implemented in various fields. I mean, not only information technology and software. Okay, so even it is used in life sciences also. Like say, for example, one application I'll tell you. So we are implementing Python application or Python statistical modeling in order to verify in some kind of clinical trial analysis. Clinical. That means, say, for example, in developing some kind of drug compositions. Okay. So if you look at this case of system administration or
गोविंद
network
पदी पदी के
administration,
बाद कॉमा आएगा, फिर
okay.
आगे आ जाएगा साबार वो पूरा। और
So
लेकिन फॉर्मेट जो मैंने भेजा ना, फॉर्मेट जो मैंने भेजा उसी में लिखना है। आप उसके लिए ये कर सकते हो कि ये जो ऊपर टाइटल लिखा हो षष्ठी पूर्ति, वो इस साइड में ले सकते हो, दूसरे पेज में फूल वाले में, पहले चाहो।
whoever it is, can you please mute yourself?
अच्छा यूं है कहीं।
Thank you, guys. Fine. So even if you're taking some any kind of web applications, right, like developing any kind of web applications, okay. So today Python is also implemented. I mean, okay. So in testing purposes, also automation kind of task, also in deployment purposes, also whether you take it in the case of cloud, even okay. So in cloud-based applications, also people are using Python a lot, guys. Okay. So I mean, it's not. I mean, this is only to say a few actually. Okay, so it's not limited actually. So Python implementation today is in a large scale actually. Okay, so today it's in a large scale. I'm just telling you a few. Implementations. That's it. Okay. So now if you look at this one, the other kind of features actually, it is mixable. That means even you can integrate Python with some other kind of languages or some other kind of tools also. Okay, so in say for example, you can integrate it with some other kind of business intelligence applications like Tableau, Power BI, and even integrate with some other kind of programming language as well. Or likewise, I mean, so it's easy to use. I mean, okay, so it's easy to implement, easy to write, and easy to understand. Okay, so it's easy to learn as well because the syntax and structure part is very simple, easy to understand actually. Okay, now it's powerful because dynamic typing is there. It's having a lot of built-in types and the tools. I mean, library utilities, and even there are lots and lots of third-party utilities like NumPy. I mean, pandas. I mean, you take whether say for example Matplotlib, SciPy, okay, or even scikit-learn. Okay, so I mean these are meant to develop different kinds of applications, guys. Okay, now say for example, if you take the case of machine learning, okay, in data science, I mean this is one kind of library called as scikit-learn, Python library. Okay, scikit-learn. So especially we use it to build some kind of machine learning models. At the same time, if you take some kind of deep learning and AI-based applications, like there is some, I mean, TensorFlow, Keras, okay, PyTorch, okay, even so. I mean, these are only to name a few actually. So likewise, we are having n different kinds of frameworks and libraries also. I mean, okay, which Python supports, and it's portable also. So Python runs virtually on every major platform used today. Okay, now installing Python, so it's not required. So what I can do with Python is, as I told you, you can use Python to build some kind of websites or even mobile apps, or even in order to develop some kind of games also, in order to run some kind of automation kind of scripts also. Or say for example, Python is also used in some kind of robotic applications, okay, database programming, networking based applications, okay, scripting, or whatever it is. These are only to name a few actually. Okay, about Python. Now, if you look at the syntax or the structure, say for example, Python, right? Okay, so it's very simple, guys. I mean, so one more thing, I mean, Python can be used as some basic calculator also. Okay, so it can be used as a basic calculator also. Now, say for example, let me show you something. Okay, so this is Jupyter Notebook. I mean, this is one of the IDEs of Python actually. So people will be generally using this a lot actually. And so in data science and AI applications in real time, people will be using most like this one. Okay, so this is some kind of Python IDE. Like you're having a lot of editors, guys. I mean, okay, PyCharm is also one other kind of thing. Spider IDE, again, idle editor. Okay, when you download and install Python from the official website, right? So you'll be getting idle editor. Okay. So, I mean, if you install Anaconda software, I mean, this is the kind of Jupyter notebook you'll be getting. Okay, so you need to go to this run button and click on this Python 3. It is similar to your notebook, I mean, where you have cells, right? Okay, so these are called as cells, I mean, okay. Now, say for example, let me type in something. So, say for example, let me increase the font. Okay. Say for example, x equal to, so in Python, I mean, let's say for example I want to create a variable now. So what is a variable? Now variable is some kind of placeholder, right, which holds a value actually. Okay, so say for example, let me type in here x equal to Python. So in now, in order to display the value of a variable, right, so what I do, simply I give print command in this way. So print of x, I mean, again, so this is See, this cell is nothing but where you type your code, guys. I mean, okay, so where you input, I mean, where you write your commands actually, where you type in your code actually, and after completing, I mean, you need to click on this run button. Okay, so it will give you 10. Okay. Now, even in order to write this kind of tasks, right, and unlike, say, for example, in the case of Java or some other kind of programming language, you have to write some 4 to 5 lines of code. Actually, you have to initiate a main class. I mean, again, declare some kind of thing again. Okay, so likewise, I mean, I'm not telling that Python is, I mean, so it's very simple, but it's easy to use actually. Okay, so it's a straightforward language. It's not like where you have some kind of compilers and some other kind of programming language. Okay, so whatever you write it, right? So automatically it will be converted to the bytecode and it will be interpreted. I mean, that is that's I mean what exactly Python works actually. Okay. Now again, so likewise, say for example, so you can be it can be used as a basic calculator also. Now say for example, basic calculator in the sense I want to add something. Say for example, let me add 5 plus 7 now. Okay. So if I run like this, I mean it will be throwing 12 actually. Okay, so you can use it as a basic calculator also. Python can be used in such way also, and Python can be used in order to develop some big high-end applications also, right from a small calculator to building some kind of large AI scale applications actually. So Python is used today actually. Okay. Now, likewise, you can write your code. I mean, in this way actually, you can do whatever kind of code you want to write actually. Okay. So who uses Python today? Now, if you take the case, I mean, today, all the Fortune 500 companies and all the technology or tech companies or even the consulting companies or even the banking companies, I mean, they are using Python actually. Okay. I mean, different purposes. Okay. So they are using Python for different purposes. Now, if you take the case of this life sciences companies, they are implementing Python statistical modeling in order to do some kind of predictive modeling task or some kind of analysis actually on the drug manufacturing. Okay. Now, so if you take the case of Google, right? Okay, so Google makes extensive use of Python in its web search system and employs Python's creator. Okay, so they are implementing Python. I mean, so Google now. I told you one kind of framework, right? So it's TensorFlow. Okay, so which is employed properly in deep learning applications. Okay, so now Google has developed TensorFlow. I mean, okay, so again, if you take the case of Intel, Cisco, Hewlett Packard, that is HP, Seagate, Qualcomm, IBM uses Python for hardware testing. Okay, so these are the product-based companies. I mean, so they have some products. I mean, different kinds of products. So they use Python in order to test something, in order to, write some kind of scripting also. So likewise, these are only to name a few guys. I mean, so if you take, such list, I mean, it is very vast actually, because Python implementation today, every company is, using actually for various kinds of purposes actually. Okay. Now, enough to understand the code. That means, Python is having some simple structure. Even if you take the case of syntax or its structure or its variable implementation or whatever data type implementation or whatever it is, it's very easy to understand and simple to use. Okay. So anyone can master Python, guys. It's not like that. Okay. So even if you're from non-IT background also, you can master Python. Okay. Only you have to put in some kind of extra hours. Anyone can master it. Okay. So Python code execution. Python's traditional runtime execution model. Source code you type is translated to bytecode, which is then run by the Python virtual machine. So your code is automatically compiled, but then it is interpreted. So what you write, whatever code you write in Python, right, it's automatically, the source code will be translated to bytecode. Okay. So that's why there is no need of compiler here actually. There is no need, no case of compiler here. Okay. So automatically it will be compiled and interpreted. Okay, so that's why Python, execution is very fast compared to other programming languages. Okay, so you can run your code. Likewise, so you can design your code. You can run your code. So Python today, if you take the case of Python, so as I told you, so Python is employed in data science and AI applications a lot actually. Okay, so it is used in different kinds of applications. Whether you take machine learning, where we develop some kind of predictive modeling kind of things, classification kind of task, or even clustering also, or say for example, some kind of association or market basket analysis kind of rules also. Okay. So Pythonic implementation is long. Even if you take the case of deep learning also, deep learning, especially we use it for some kind of image scanning, okay, speech recognition, image recognition, that is object recognition, okay. So for all these kind of purposes, I mean, people are using Python a lot actually. So there are different kinds of popular Python libraries like TensorFlow, Keras, I mean, PyTorch, okay, PySpark, I mean, okay. So people are using these kind of libraries, I mean, okay. So everything is based on Python, guys, I mean. So that's why even today you can find Python jobs a lot actually. That is the main reason, I mean. Okay, and moreover, Python got its fame because of data science and AI based off applications, those kind of libraries actually. Okay, so that's why Python got its fame today actually. Okay, so Python is very old language. It's not any new language actually, but only people got to use now. I mean, actually, because of the different implementations and building different kinds of applications in Python. That's the only, I mean, criteria or things actually. Okay, so that was about Python, guys. So now let me give you some introduction on, say, data science and AI. Of course, the most popular kind of thing, right? No. Okay. So, I mean, today, I mean, wherever you go, people are hearing. I mean, we are able to. I mean, we are hearing, or we are seeing, or we are listening about data science. I mean, analytics. I mean, okay. So again, machine learning, deep learning, artificial intelligence. Of course, that is a buzzword, right? Today, artificial intelligence. Even a school-going, kid is speaking about AI. But what exactly is this data science? What is AI? So what is machine learning? So what is analytics? I mean, what is deep learning? So let us try to understand this in detail now. Okay. So before this one, let me show you something. Okay. Find this. Okay. So now, what is data science? Okay. Now, there are a lot of definitions on data science. Okay. So a lot of definitions on data science now. Okay. Now, like if you take, some popular definitions, like say, for example, Wikipedia. So it states that data science is a multidisciplinary field that uses scientific methods, processes, algorithms, and systems to extract knowledge and insights from data in various forms, both structured and unstructured, similar to data mining. So this is one definition. Now, similarly, if you look at some other definition, right? Okay. So it is a concept to unify statistics, data analysis, machine learning, and related methods in order to understand and analyze actual phenomena with data. It employs techniques and theories drawn from many fields within the context of mathematics, statistics, information science, and computer science. Like say, for example, if you take, you will be getting lot and lot of definitions. Right? Okay, so lots and lots of definitions. Now, if you take some other definition, so this is go. So data science is a multidisciplinary blend of data inference, algorithm development, and technology in order to solve analytically complex problems. But in simple way, I'll tell you what exactly is data science. So data science is nothing but it is a combination of all these fields, guys. Okay, so it's a combination of software programming. It's some combination of mathematics, statistics. Okay, again, domain knowledge also. Okay, domain knowledge also. If you ask me, domain knowledge is also very important. Okay. So, it is a new concept actually. Okay. So, if you unify all these things, right? So, that is a data science. Okay. So, we implement, different kinds of analytics techniques on the data in order to solve different kinds of, say business scenarios actually. So, the requirement is different. Okay. Based upon your requirement, right? So, you implement or you approach, you involve different kinds of analytics approaches actually. Okay. You implement different kinds of analytics approaches. Let's say, for example, if your requirement is to predict something, okay, prediction models, so you implement some kind of machine learning techniques actually, where you write some kind of machine learning algorithms. Or say, for example, if you're going for some kind of object detection, like image detection or speech recognition or these kind of things, you implement deep learning kind of algorithms. Okay. So likewise, it depends upon the kind of requirements actually. Okay. So now let us try to understand, all these things. So if you look back to the history of data, right? So it dates back to 1960s, where US had a lot of tax information with them, and at those point of time, so they were maintaining the data in some kind of books and ledgers format. Okay, books and ledgers now. Obviously, the other kind of disadvantage is data is keeping on rising every year and a year. Okay, so how to save the data? Okay, so if you look at today, I mean, hardly we are getting up to 2 TB of RAM and hard disk sizes, right? Okay, so think about 10 years back, were you able to get the same kind of data storage, whatever you're getting today? No, right? Okay. So now, what about the different kinds of high-end applications? Like, for example, if you take the case of stock market, okay, or if you take the case of Google search engine, or if you take the case of flight data, okay, so where the huge amounts of banking data, where huge amounts of data will be keeping on rising, okay, day to day. Okay. And again, you have to make some kind of analysis on that one. Okay. You need to make some kind of analysis on that one. Okay. So this is where, I mean, there is need for data scientists. Okay. So this is where there is a need for data. Okay. Fine. Fine. Okay, guys. Fine, guys. Okay. So in a simple way, I'll tell you what exactly is data science now. I mean, I'll let you know what exactly is data science. So before, I mean, letting you know about data science, I'll tell you some use case scenarios. I mean, so why we are going for data science? What is the need of data science actually? So analytics is one kind of, I mean, component or one kind of techniques implemented in data science. Okay, analytics. Okay, whether I'm not speaking in general of about whether it is data analytics or business analytics. So analytics, I mean, okay. So let me tell you something. Now, say for example, I mean, previous days, I mean, when data was stored in some kind of books and ledgers format, so then we had some kind of electronic data storage kind of things actually. So where we had some kind of CD-ROMs, okay, DVD-ROMs, and some kind of floppy disk, right? Okay. I mean, again, we got used to that one actually. But again, the question arises: what amount of data you can store in that kind of systems? Actually, it's very limited, right? Okay. Again, so people again they move to some kind of storing the data in and archiving the data in some kind of databases. I mean, okay, so where we had some different kinds of RDBMS platforms. I mean, vendors were many actually. Like if you take the case of Oracle, Microsoft SQL Server, Teradata, HP Greenplum, Sybase, okay, Informix, I mean, IBM DB2. So like, I mean, these are different kinds of databases we are having actually. Okay. So again, industry got acquainted to these kind of technologies actually. But again, the same question arises: what is the amount of data that you can store in this kind of things actually? Okay. But say, for example, when the data volumes are keeping on rising, right? Again, the industry got moved to some other kind of technique or technology is called as data warehousing. So they implemented data warehousing technology in order to store and access huge amounts of data, actually, huge amounts of data. Now, data warehousing, if you look at it, right? Okay, so we do have generally, I mean, two kinds of components: ETL and BI. Okay, so ETL stands for extraction, transformation, and loading, and BI stands for business intelligence. Now, data, I mean, it resides in many various forms actually. Okay, so I mean, we will be getting data from various kinds of data sources. So we need a mechanism to extract data from various kinds of data sources, transform the data as per the business requirements or business needs. Again, load the data into the target warehouses. So this is what we do in real time actually. Okay, so I mean, we implement data engineers to work on this kind of task. Okay. So then comes the role of a BI engineer or a BI developer actually. So business intelligence engineer or business developer actually. So where he is responsible, okay, so to analyze the data and to, make out some kind of information from the data. That means he'll be, creating some kind of reports, dashboards based on some kind of analysis made on the data. Now, on a simple analysis, I'll tell you. Okay, so why exactly we are moving to data science or analytics? What is the need of analytics actually today? I'll tell you with a simple case. Okay, now in our childhood days, right, in our mathematics days, I mean, where we are learning in our school days, I mean, okay, so every one of us have some basic understanding about statistics, right? Some descriptive statistics, basics. So where we have, in geometry also, where we have plotted the things in a 2D plot, like x-axis, y-axis. I mean, okay, so we used to, I mean, plot the things in that way actually. Okay, now say for example, let me give you, a simple use case scenario in this way. Say for example, you are being given with 3 weeks of sales data. Now, typically in a month, we have 4 weeks actually. Say for example, I am giving you 3 weeks of sales data to you. Okay. Now in week one, okay, you almost got 10 lakhs of sales turnover. Say for example, I'm telling you, okay, 10 lakhs of sales turnover. In week two, you got almost all 20 lakhs of sales turnover. And in week three, you got only 5 lakhs. Okay, once I am repeating guys, so listen carefully here. So in week one, you got 10 lakhs. In week two, you got 20 lakhs. And in week three, you got 5 lakhs. Okay. Now say for example, you have plotted the thing in using a bar chart. Okay, so easily we can plot the things, right? Okay, so on x-axis and y-axis, I can plot the things actually. Okay, now coming to this data, right? So what we can understand by this data, so that means comparing week one with week two, right? Okay, so week one we got 10 lakhs and week two we are getting 20 lakhs. That means in week two, can I say that I'm in profits? I'm making profits. Okay. Now again, comparing week two with week three, right? So week two is 20 and week three is 5. Okay. So I don't know what is the reason, but there is a huge dip into sales. Okay. In my sales actually. So that means again, finally, I'm into losses actually. Okay. So this is what your normal BI systems can analyze the data and it can give you the results actually. Okay. So when we were working 10 years, 6 years back actually. So these were the tools, we were working. These were the things, we were uncovering the things actually. So we were comparing the different kinds of data actually. Now, say for example, in real time, if you take the case of a typical company, right? Okay. So, you might have heard about the results. TCS Q1 result, Q2 results in that way. Okay. So what they do, generally they compare the results actually in quarters actually. Okay. So like what were the sales in last quarter or what are the sales this quarter? Or say, for example, what were the sales last year compared to this year? Even if you take the case of cricket score also, they do, they give the score in such way only, right? So if you say, for example, between two countries, Australia were having so and so runs in 10 overs. So India is making so and so runs in 10 overs. This kind of comparative analysis they will be giving you. Okay. Low. So if you take that case, so finally in week three, I'm into loss actually. Okay. Now this is what a normal BI system will tell you actually. But say for example, if at all I want to find some kind of reasons, like what is the exact reason for my loss, now it can't uncover the things actually. Okay, so this is where we employ analytics techniques, guys. Okay, so this is where we employ analytics approaches actually in order to uncover the things and know the reasons, exact reasons actually. Now, say for example, if I'm into losses, there can be multiple reasons. Like, okay, so like say for example, it can be due to the high price of the product that the product is not going well in the market. It can be the case, right? Okay, so that might be one of the case actually. Or say for example, it can be due to the bad reviews from the customers also. Generally, when we purchase something over the e-commerce portals, right? Okay, so normally what we do, we look at the reviews actually, customer reviews, and we before purchasing something. Okay, so like what I'm saying is these are some of the reasons actually. Okay, I'm not saying that these are the only exact reasons actually. So what we do, like we find out different kinds of reasons and we uncover the things actually. So where exactly I'm going wrong. Okay, fine. So analytics can tell you this one. Even analytics can figure you, like say for example, if this is the case, what can be the sales in week 4? Okay, that means even it can forecast you. That means even we can make some kind of forecasting analysis also, some kind of predictions also. Okay, so that is the power of analytics. So how come analytics can answer you all these kind of things? Analytics employs statistical and mathematical models, guys. Okay, fine. So we employ those kind of we implement those kind of techniques in order to uncover the things in the data. So to find the patterns in the data and to find the insights from the data. Okay, meaningful insights from the data actually. Okay, so that is what is the power of analytics. That is why every organization is moving towards analytics. Now let me tell you various examples, guys. So if you take the case of analytics, right? So let me show you something. Now, so these are the different kinds of analytics, guys. Okay, so descriptive analytics. So it will tell you what is happening in your data, what happened actually. Now, say for example, in our case, now whatever the example we were discussing, right? Okay, so I told you that in week 4, in week 3, we are into loss actually. Okay, fine, we are into loss now. So what is the reason behind that one? In order to uncover the things, right? Okay, so we make some kind of, we find out what are the things, where we are going wrong actually. Now, similarly, diagnostic analytics will tell you why did it happen. After uncovering the things, right, you will get to know it, right? Why did it happen actually? Where I went wrong actually. Okay. So then, I mean, predictive analytics is one other kind of analytics actually. So where it will tell you what will happen. That means, I mean, say for example, if at all you want to make some kind of predictions or forecasting, okay. So this is the technology where this is the analytics where we apply actually predictive analytics. Okay. Now, say for example, it can be some kind of stock market prediction or gold prices prediction, rupee dollar prediction, or say for example, I want to find out if this is the case actually. So what can be the future trends in mobile sales actually? Like say for example, if you take the case of iPhone or a Galaxy or OnePlus or whatever it is. Okay, so which phone can or which product can, I mean, have good amount of sales actually. Okay, so likewise, that is some kind of predictive modeling techniques I can implement actually. Now, even if you take the case of, I mean, in sports as well, say for example, let us take the case of cricket. I mean, we Indians are huge fans of cricket, right? Okay. Now, if you look at cricket, right? So they will be giving you some kind of projected score. So what exactly is that one? That is some kind of prediction score only, right? Okay. So based upon the current run rate and what are the runs they score till now. Okay. So I mean, it will be giving you some kind of projected score. Okay. So that is some kind of predictive modeling or predictive analytics implementation. Okay. Again, likewise, if you, I mean, keeping on, I mean, if I tell you, I mean, there are a lot of examples, guys. Okay. Now, say for example, again, prescriptive analytics. Okay. So it will tell you how can we make it happen actually. So prescriptive analytics is completely about some kind of optimization. Now, say for example, let me tell you a simple use case actually. Say for example, understand that there are three different routes from your house to your office location, or say for example your college location. Okay, now there are three different routes. In route A, say for example, if it is taking only 1 hour of time in order to reach your destination, route B is taking almost all 2 hours, and route C is taking 1.5 hours. Okay, but there is huge amount of traffic in route A and less amount of traffic in route B, and I mean some moderate traffic in route C. So, I mean, so if I ask you which route you would be taking, I mean, it depends upon your requirement, right? Say, for example, if you, I mean, if there is a lot of time, I mean, if time is not a constraint for you, then you can choose whatever route you want. Okay. So likewise, I mean, we'll be also implementing different kinds of analytics techniques in order to uncover the things, guys. Now, say, for example, let me tell you a simple use case study. Now, all these are the real-time case studies I'm telling you, which we are seeing in real time, in a real life, actually. Okay. Now, if you go to a retail store, large retail store, right? Okay. Now you might be seeing, I mean, we'll be seeing some kind of things like up to 60% off, like, okay. Now, I mean, know that, I mean, he will be not giving the same kind of 60% on each and every product, right? Okay. Because see, I mean, there is a technique behind that one. How much discount I need to put up? What are the pricing models? Okay. So what kind of pricing I need to put on this such kind of products actually? Okay. So there's I mean, analytics study behind that one actually. Okay. So for all these kind of purposes, analytics implementation is required. So this is where analytics is used, guys. Okay, analytics. So all these are the different kinds of analytics approaches or implementations we'll be applying on the data in order to uncover the things. Okay, uncover the things. Okay. So, I mean, if you take the case, right, I mean, there are a lot of examples, guys. Now, say, for example, a typical retail company or a retail organization, they implement analytics in order to understand the customer behavior, guys. In order to understand the customer behavior. Customer behavior in the sense, I'm talking about their shopping patterns, I mean, shopping patterns. Okay. Now, say, for example, understand that if I understand my customer well, right, that means if I give him reasonable products and at reasonable prices, right, okay, so that customer will be staying with me for longer time, right, okay. So I mean, if I give him the right kind of products, okay. Now, say for example, if such is a customer base, I mean, if there is large such kind of customer base with you, ultimately I can make profits, right? Because see, if you market them the right kind of product, ultimately that customer will be staying with you for longer time. That means whenever he visits your store or whenever he visits your store online, I mean, okay, logs to your website, okay. So he'll be definitely purchasing some kind of products. I mean, that means I'll be making out some kind of sales from him actually. Okay, so that is what every organization today is implementing analytics for. Okay, so likewise, if you take care, I mean, there are different kinds of applications, right? Different kinds of implementations. Okay, about this one. So, okay, let me, fine. Okay. So what is data science? As I told you, so data science is having lot of definitions, guys. I mean, so if you look at this one, right? So okay, we are having lot of things, but I'll tell you what exactly data science is used for. So today, I mean, if you look at this data science, right? Okay, so I mean, data scientist is a person who need to have knowledge on all these kind of aspects. Actually, that means you need to have some kind of programming knowledge. You need to have some kind of math and statistics knowledge. Of course, business domain is also required. I mean, business knowledge or domain knowledge, what we call it as. Okay, domain knowledge. Because if you know the business, right? I mean, how exactly the business runs. I mean, what are the pitfalls in that one? So ultimately, I mean, you can make out some kind of an from that one. Okay, so that is also. I mean, that's why a data scientist should also have some kind of business domain requirement actually. Okay, now, so if you look at this one, right? Okay, so so where machine learning or even predictive analytics or even statistics, say for example, substantive expertise, I mean that is marketing or say for example, if you look at this one, right? Okay, so different organizations and different verticals, I mean they are implementing data science to uncover the things, guys. I mean, okay, like say for example, if you take the case of marketing, so they want to know, how can we sell a right, product to a right customer actually at a right time. I mean, okay, so they are implementing some kind of data science practices in order to find out the right customers actually. Like say for example, if you take the case of banking applications, right? So banks, companies or banking organizations, so they are implementing data science and these kind of AI applications in order to find out who can be the genuine customers who can repay the loans actually on a timely basis actually. Okay, or in order to avoid some kind of risk detection or fraud detection actually. Okay, so likewise in healthcare sector, right? So, okay, today people are implementing these kind of applications in healthcare in order to uncover many things actually. Like say for example, based on the present health condition, right? I want to know what are the chances of a person getting diabetes or say for example heart diseases or say for example cancer related diseases. So likewise, data science is implemented today in various kinds of fields, guys. I mean, okay. So, but I mean, if you look at the an organization, right? So, okay. So, what do people look for in a data scientist? Okay. So, data scientist is a person who should have some kind of deeper understanding of the concepts they are trained on, and of course, a broad range of concepts. I mean, broad range of understanding in different kinds of business domains, actually. Now, say for example, if you take the case of retail. So retail, I mean, what are the pitfalls in retail actually? So what exactly retail organizations do? I mean, okay. So coming to the case of customer behavior, or say for example, pricing models or different kinds of things. I mean, okay. So we'll be learning. I mean, these kind of things a lot actually. Okay. So organizations employ data scientists for these kind of purposes actually. Okay. Now, if you look at the roles required in a data science project, right? Okay. So there are numerous number of roles, guys. I mean, okay. So data scientist, data engineer, visualization expert, okay, process owner, or people are also called today. They are terming them as a product owner also. Okay. So data engineers, as I told you, so they are the persons. I hope you people heard about big data, right? Okay. So these are the persons. Who employ big data techniques actually. Okay, big data techniques. They are called as data engineers. Okay, so these people are responsible in order to extract data from various kinds of sources. So they involve in cleaning up the data. Performing different kinds of transformational activities, and then again loading the data. Then analyzing the information from the data actually. Okay, analyzing the data actually. So these people do those kind of activities actually. So coming to a visualization expert, right? Visualization expert in the sense, they analyze the data and they build some kind of reports. They visualize the data actually. In other things, in, in simple words, they visualize the data actually. Visualization in the sense, so they employ different kinds of visuals. Say building some kind of graphs actually. Now, in our example, I told you the case of bar chart. Like say for example, based upon the kind of data you're having, right? Okay, so you can build different kinds of visuals and graphs actually. Because see, human brain can easily understand images, right, rather than text and words actually. Okay, and moreover an image speaks a lot of words, 1,000 words, and text actually. So there is a proper, famous saying actually in this thing. Okay, so likewise, so what we do is we visualize the data and we uncover things also from that data actually. So we use for different kinds of purposes. Even say for example, if you look at the stock market, by the end of the business hours, right? Okay, so they will be giving you in some kind of chart only, right? Some kind of line chart. Most of you might have seen that one, in news or newspapers or on online news or whatever it is. Okay, so they will be giving you in some kind of charts only. That is nothing but some kind of visuals only, visualization. Okay. Okay. Now coming to data scientist, right? So he's an high-end person who is responsible, who is having all this kind of knowledge actually. Okay, so he's having all this kind of knowledge. That means is a person who will be implementing some kind of programming kind of, techniques actually in order to code something. Or say, for example, he'll be also using this kind of visualization, or he might be working on this kind of things also, like cleaning the data and performing some different kinds of analysis on the data, or implementing some kind of EDA called as exploratory data analysis actually, where you will be implementing statistics in order to uncover the things actually. Okay, so I mean, he's the person, data scientist. So that is why I mean, data science is a high-end job. I mean, actually, okay. So he's the person actually behind all these kind of things. I mean, okay. Now, so today, if you take the case of data science, right? I mean, people are implementing Python a lot. I told you, right? Python implementation is more than other kind of language also. So the other kind of things, I mean, where in data science, people use is Python, R, and some other kind of language as well. Like let's say, for example, Go language, I mean, Julia, and even Spark, and some other kind of language as well. Okay. So, but Python implementation is lot, guys. That is why, even if I'm not speaking about India, even if you I mean, go overseas also. I mean, Python-based data science jobs are a lot actually, and it will even give you a very good, decent, I mean, salaries actually. Okay, here in India as well as abroad. I mean, okay. So, I mean, if you look at what kind of libraries I mean, Python employs in order to deal with data science applications, right? Okay, so we generally use NumPy, which is also called as numerical Python. Okay, so we generally use this kind of library on some kind of numerical analysis in order to have or see some kind of numerical analysis on the data. Okay. Now, say for example, pandas. I mean, pandas is especially used for data analysis kind of task, guys. I told you, right? Data cleaning, data munging, or data branching. Okay, so all this for all these kind of purposes, pandas is used. Scikit-learn. I mean, I told you, right? So this is used especially, I mean, for machine learning activities in order to write some kind of machine learning algorithms. Okay. So it can be anything, guys. I mean, prediction or classification or any kind of things. Okay. So if you look at other kind of, language or tools or platforms, right? Okay. So people implement different kinds of, frameworks or different kinds of tool sets. But the most popular used kind of languages are Python, R, and Julia. These are the high level languages. And apart from this one, people are also using Java, Scala, and Clojure, and C++ and Go language as well. Okay. So, but I mean, Python implementation is a lot, guys. I mean, so if you learn Python, that will be an added advantage for your career and can give you great, good packages as well. Okay. So Python and R implementation. Okay. So likewise, if you look at some other kind of high advanced libraries in Python, right? So Matplotlib, it is used for plotting the things. I mean, plotting the data actually. TensorFlow, as I told you, it is used in deep learning activities. Keras, I mean, it is also one of the popular AI and deep learning, libraries actually. Okay. So again, coming to data scientists need to be comfortable with mathematics and statistical analysis also. Now, say for example, statistical analysis in the sense, I'll tell you a simpler case, like how we'll be analyzing the data. Now, say for example, let me take class of students. I mean, whether it is 100 or 200, never mind. Okay, let me take the class of students. So say for example, I want to analyze their marks. Over a period of time, I want to analyze their marks. Now, what is the kind of approach we'll be doing is one thing when implementing statistical approach on this kind of data, right? One thing I can find out, who is getting highest marks? Yes, in the class. Again, who is getting the least marks in the class? What is the average marks? Okay, and how many students are getting below average? That means the marks below average, or how many students are getting more than above average? Actually, that means marks more than the average mark. Okay, so how many of students are getting the highest marks actually? So these kind of information I can put in and the data actually. So where you will be using different kinds of statistical approaches actually, statistical measures also. Like in our childhood days, we have learned some descriptive statistics, right? Like say, for example, if you take the case of central tendencies, measures of central tendencies like mean, median, mode. Okay, again, if you take other cases like standard deviation ranges. Likewise, so we employ these kind of statistical measures on the data in order to find out, okay, so what exactly is happening in the data. Okay, so this is some kind of descriptive information it will give from the data. Okay, so that is why you need to know, I mean, you need to implement these kind of approaches in the data actually. So what exactly is happening in the data in order to uncover things, I mean, okay. Now again, if you look at mathematics, right? So especially we will be employing this kind of linear algebra kind of techniques, like say for example matrices. So where we deal with arrays, I mean, in computer programming terminology we call them as arrays, and mathematics we speak in terms of matrices, right? Okay. So especially if you take the case of NumPy, I mean, as I told you, right? So NumPy is also one of the libraries, I mean, in data science, I mean, so we'll be using. So especially we'll deal with these kind of things, I mean, arrays. Okay. Like say, for example, if you take the case of calculus, right? Okay. Calculus, I mean, again, we'll be implementing it in machine learning. Okay. So machine learning, graph theory, probability and combinations. Okay. Okay. So these are the different kinds of techniques we implement on the data, guys. I mean, so that's why you need to have some basic understanding about all these kind of things. Okay. Now, so again, if you look at, I mean, so data scientists need to learn machine learning and software engineering as well. So machine learning is nothing but, I mean, so we'll be having two kinds of learnings, guys, here: supervised learning and unsupervised learning. So in supervised learning, we deal with regression and classification problems a lot. Okay, so regression again is a statistical terminology. It's nothing but some kind of prediction actually. So it can be anything: horse prices prediction, okay, so stock market prediction, gold prices prediction, likewise. I mean, okay. So as I told you, even in cricket also, they also do employ the same kind of statistical techniques only. So that's why I'm telling you, analytics is not any new concept, guys. I mean, it's very older concept only. Okay, so only the thing is that we are implementing these kind of approaches and techniques on in real world data now, actually. Likewise, if I say, I mean, there are a lot and lot of, I mean, examples, guys. Like say, for example, there's a field called actuarial sciences where we implement these kind of predictive modeling techniques also. Now, say, for example, you'll be purchasing some kind of policy, I mean, insurance policy. Okay. So how come, I mean, the policymaker can tell you that you'll be getting so and so kind of amount based upon whatever the, I mean, amount or the premium you pay actually. So, I mean, they generally develop these kind of, I mean, policies based upon this kind of techniques actually. So even if you take the case of cricket, I mean, they'll be using this kind of predictive modeling techniques. Okay. So likewise, I mean, if I tell you, I mean, there are a lot and lot of things, guys, actually. So that's why, I mean, these are not any new kind of things actually we are learning. Only the thing is that we are learning it right now. That is the only new thing. I mean, we are doing it. Okay. So let me tell you something about machine learning, guys. Now, okay, machine learning. So daily we are performing machine learning activities only, but we don't know that is that exactly we are doing machine learning activities. Like say, for example, I'll tell you one simple case study. Okay, now you'll be searching something over Google search engine, right? So have you ever wondered how come your Google search engine is able to give you the results whatever you're asking it for? Okay. So that, I mean, the search results, whatever we call it, is organic search results. Okay. So whatever it is giving you, right? How come it is working? I mean, have you ever wondered how come your search engine is working actually? Okay. So in the background, they'll be running these kind of machine learning algorithms where some kind of, they employ some kind of bots actually. Spiders also, people call it as spiders or bots. So what it will do, I mean, based upon whatever you're typing, right? Okay. So what you are searching for, I mean, it will break down it into keywords. So based upon the popularity and based upon the index, I mean, it will find it its Google index, and based upon the popularity and ranking of a particular website, it will give you the search results. I mean, okay, so there that kind of technique is employed. I mean, some kind of algorithm is employed. I mean, okay, in order to fetch you the results actually. Like say, for example, if you take the case of same Google search engine itself, right? So we can, I mean, we can search using the normal text search. Again, we can search using any image search also. Like you can upload an image, even you can search in that way also. Like even speech pattern is also implemented. I mean, you can even speak actually in that way also. We can search something. Okay. So in all these kind of techniques, all these kind of approaches are implemented. That means all the different kinds of algorithmic approaches are involved actually. Whether you take the case of, say, for example, in normal text search, some kind of, I mean, machine learning, I mean, algorithm is implemented. Even if you take the case of your Gmail, right? Okay, so before a new mail comes, right? Okay, it will automatically, test it whether to send it to you in your inbox, or say, for example, to filter out the spam images actually, or spam filters actually. Okay, so they will be also implementing these kind of approaches only. Like say, for example, again, even if you take the case of e-commerce portals also, like say, for example, Amazon, you're searching for something over Amazon portal, right? Say, for example, I want to purchase Nike shoes. Now, apart from showing me Nike shoes, the system also recommends me and shows me some other kind of products also, right? That means it is recommending me some other kind of products as well. So that is called as recommendation systems, guys. Okay, so in machine learning terminology, we call them as recommendation systems. That means, that algorithm, it is very powerful, it is very clever. It will, track all your searches actually. So that whenever you next time you log in, right, it will also show you what were the last searches you made actually. And so depending upon that one, it will, show you some kind of products actually. It will recommend you some kind of products. That is how that, e-commerce search engines works actually. So all these are, we are seeing in the real world only, right? Real time use cases only, right? Okay. Now again, if you go to some other kind of, say for example, so this is about supervised learning, guys. Now again, there is something called as unsupervised learning. So unsupervised learning, there we employ some kind of clustering mechanisms actually, clustering mechanisms where we divide the data into groups actually. Now, say for example, I'll tell you one thing. Now, all of us have visited to, we'll be visiting some kind of retail marts, right? Bigger retail marts actually. Now, there, based upon whatever the sales you give to them, right? So they will be dividing the customers into different categories, like top customers, medium range customers, low, selling customers actually. That means low sales customers actually. They'll be dividing, the customers into this way. That is why they'll be giving you some kind of customer loyalty benefit cards. Okay, like you are, say for example, you're a platinum customer, you're a gold customer, you're a silver customer. So they'll be, categorizing the people into different groups based on whatever the sales volume you give to them. So why they'll be doing, it helps them, it makes them easier to, serve you better actually in different ways. Like I'll tell you, so say for example, they want to know, say, whenever they launch a new product, right? So which kind of customer, or say for example, which category of customers will be giving me huge amount of sales. Okay, fine. So in order to implement these kind of approaches, right? Okay, so again, in order to give you good discounts also, other kind of products also, they'll be dividing the customers based upon the sales volumes, they give actually. Okay, so likewise, all these are the things we are seeing in real time only. So behind all these things, right, some analytics and data science approaches is implemented. Okay, so that is what, I'm not telling you any alien stuff actually. Okay, so this is what we are seeing in real time, we are facing in real time. And we are, living with all these kind of things actually. Okay, now, so that is why, a data scientist, is a niche job actually. Okay, if you ask me, that is a prime job. It's a premium job actually. So if you take, normally, this is the average figure, guys. Actually, in US, so the demand for data science, data scientists is rising like anything, actually. Now, if you take, at least for a decade, AI and data science will rule the world, guys. Because see, wherever you go, data, is keeping on rising. Okay, whether you take banks, whether you take stock market, or whether you take airline data, or whatever it is. Okay, so data volumes are keeping on rising, and we need data scientists in order to analyze the information present in the data, to uncover the things from the data, to find meaningful insights and patterns from the data. Okay, so that is why the demand for data science, scientists is very huge now actually. Okay, so it's growing like anything actually, because see, wherever the data volumes are keeping on, generating, right? So organizations, they are facing shortfall of data scientists actually, because they don't know how to, analyze the data, or how to uncover the things from the data. That is why you people as a data scientist are into much demand now. Okay. So now if you look at, who are data scientists actually? So they work in different roles and capacities, guys. If you're in a typical organization. Now, say for example, they might be working as some kind of research engineers or research scientists also. Okay. Or they might be working as some kind of data scientist itself in, doing some kind of predictive modeling task, or time series analysis. Or say, for example, they can be employed as statisticians also. Okay, in, say for example, drug manufacturing companies, or even in life sciences companies. Or say for example, even if you take the case of banking industry also, they are used as some kind of predictive modeling consultants also. Or people also call them as data scientists actually. So, based upon the kind of domain or the kind of industry you go into, you will be working in as different kinds of roles actually. Okay. Job is same, so you'll be employing the same kind of analytics techniques only. Only the thing is that, you'll be working in different domains actually, different organizations. That's the only things. So they serve in different roles and capacities, guys, a data scientist. Okay. Though they can be some kind of visualization expert, there can be some kind of statisticians, or they can work as some kind of programming experts also, or they can be working as some kind of speech experts also. Speech experts in the sense, natural language processing. Okay, where you see this kind of Amazon Alexa, Google Assistant, these kind of products. Okay, like AI engineers. Okay. So likewise, so it depends upon, what kind of role and what kind of industry you are going into. Okay. So now let me show you some applications of, data science actually. So where data science are implemented. So people think that, data science is some kind of technology which is implemented only this software kind of application. No. So it has been implemented in various domains, guys, today. Now, say for example, if you take the case of sports, okay, so sports, football, cricket, tennis, Wimbledon, what we call it as, okay. So likewise, people are implementing this analytics approaches in order to understand the player statistics. Okay, like say for example, if you take the case of cricket, so they, we see different kinds of scorecards, right? While watching cricket, actually, they'll be giving you some kind of predictive score, that is projected score, what we call it as, okay. So again, they'll be giving you user statistics, that means player statistics, or they'll be giving you some kind of team statistics also. Okay. So likewise, different kinds of applications or different kinds of implementations are done on the data actually. So sports, okay. So that is one kind of thing actually. Again, if you take the case of, security is a major trend today actually. Okay. So, if you take the case of defense research and some other kind of implementations, so those defense organizations, different departments actually, okay, they are implementing this data science in order to understand the terrorist activities actually, in order to identify them, or in order to understand their activities actually. Okay, so they are also implementing this. Even in space science technology also, they are implementing AI. NASA, ISRO, these people are implementing a lot actually. Okay, again in banking and finance, right? Okay, so people are using these kind of techniques, data science techniques. They're implementing this one in order to for various purposes. Like say for example, they want to identify the good customers and the bad customers. Bad customers in the sense, though people who cannot pay the loan or not paying the loans on time, or they want to find out who can be the next Vijay Mallya, Nirav Modi's actually. Okay, or say for example, credit card fraud detections actually. So likewise, there are n number of things they are implementing actually today. Okay. Now again, if you look at this one, again, as I told you, organic search results, how come they are able to give you, so there is some kind of machine learning algorithm or machine learning approach behind that one. How come it is able to give you that kind of things actually? Again, if you look at this kind of digital advertisements where this digital marketing people will be involved, okay, so again, they are using Google Analytics or Adobe Analytics or whatever it is, whatever tools they are using, so it will, those tools will help them to, in order to fetch good amount of traffic and again revenue statistics and all those things actually. Again, those people are also implementing data science applications actually. Okay, again, if you to see this one, as I told you, if you take the case of this one, Amazon, e-commerce portals or any news related portals also. Okay, so these are called as recommendation systems. Like say for example, if you take the case of Netflix, okay, so Netflix will tell you, it will mind you and it will recommend you based on whatever the searches you are making actually. So it will give you, it will recommend you the web series or whatever based upon your searches actually. Okay, so that means it will understand what kind of searches or what kind of things you are interested into. Now again, if you look at image processing, right? So where we employ deep learning actually. So in deep learning, I'll tell you what exactly is deep learning. So I told you the case of machine learning, right? Now again, coming to deep learning. So deep learning, we employ some kind of artificial neural networks, guys. Now say if you look at the case, right, every human brain has the concept of neurons. Okay. So based on the same kind of functionality of the neurons aspect, actually, so here also we design the same kind of thing, artificial neural networks. That means in order to understand an image or in order to detect a speech actually, or in order to identify an object actually. Okay. So we, use all these kind of approaches actually. Now say for example, everyone from our childhood, we have learned in the same way, right? Like say for example, when we used to learn in our childhood days, how we used to learn, guys, so we used to continuously read that thing, right? Like say A for apple, A for apple, A for apple, in this way. We used to learn this thing actually in continuous. Okay. So likewise, what you need to do, you need to train up your model, by giving it various kinds of examples actually. Okay, so that is how you will be training up your model actually. So this is where some kind of artificial neural networks is being implemented. Then now say for example, because see, I mean, it need to identify what is an apple and what is an other kind of fruit also, right? So for that kind of thing, we implement some kind of artificial neural networks actually. So likewise, and the examples are many things actually. Now, say for example, if you look at in this figure, now there are advanced algorithms came up actually. Okay, so where it can easily tell you that this is a bicycle, okay, and what action is performing here. Okay, it can even pop you up. I mean, so today, if you look at some kind of machine, Microsoft Azure applications, like, okay, so they, I mean, if you implement this one, right? Okay, it can even tell you what kind of action is doing actually. That means he's riding a bicycle. Okay. Now, what is this object? It is a car. Okay. Now, what is this one? Okay, it is a traffic light. Okay, so it will even tell you. I mean, live image detection also it is possible today. Now if you take out this this image detection, right, this all these things comes under artificial intelligence only, guys. Machine learning, deep learning, reinforcement learning are all subsets of AI, artificial intelligence. Now if you take this case, right, okay, so recently in COVID situation last year, in COVID times actually, okay, so different police departments in different states, they have used this kind of technology in order to identify the people in public who are not wearing mask, or whether they are roaming in public, right? Okay, so I mean, they used to track their vehicle actually based on their number plate actually. Automatically, I mean, the challan will be sent to them. Okay, so that is how even in Hyderabad also they have implemented the same kind of thing. Hyderabad Traffic Police, they have implemented the same kind of technology. Okay, this deep learning technology itself. I mean, where they have identified the objects actually. Okay, so what exactly is doing? If he's wearing mask or not. Okay, so these were the kind of, implementations had. These are all the real kind of applications only, I'm telling you. Okay. So this is what is image processing. Now, even if you take the case of NASA, ISRO also, these people also, I mean, they implement some advanced, image processing algorithms actually. So where it can identify the things, okay. In space technology. Okay. So this is about deep learning. Now, even if you take the case of gaming, today people are speaking about computer vision. Okay, augmented reality, virtual reality, all these are part of deep learning only. All these are applications of AI, deep learning applications actually. Now implementing gaming also, this is some kind of augmented reality kind of application. Okay. Now speech recognition. So you are speaking to that. Say for example, as I told you, now say for example, in every mobile phones today, Google Assistant. People are using Google Assistant in order to, make use of it actually, in order to know certain things actually. Okay, so that is called a speech recognition. Okay. Now again, so say for example, if you take some other kind of applications, price comparison websites. Now say for example, so these are the different kinds of websites. Okay. Again, if you look at air prices also, air prices will also be, keeping on changing actually. Again, so these are the different kinds of implementations where data science is implemented. Now say for example, airline routing planning. Okay. So where this kind of predictive analytics and some other kind of implementation is being implemented in order to know the route statistics. Okay, that means route analytics actually, in which route is best actually. Like I told you a proper, I told you one kind of example, right? You're having 3 different routes from your house to reach your destination, that is office, say for example. So which route you take, which that is some kind of optimization. Always, all you don't go in the same route, right? Okay, so it depends upon the traffic conditions and the time constraints also, right? Okay. So likewise, so which airline route is best actually? So what are the statistics there actually? So we implement these kind of different kinds of techniques, guys. Okay. Now, again in IoT, Internet of Things. Now, this is also one of the, prime fields actually. Okay. So IoT in simple sense, I'll tell you, today we are connected to internet, right? Okay. Everyone of us, even for every second, we are connected to internet using different kinds of devices, whether it might be mobile, whether it might be some kind of laptops or desktops, or even some other kind of devices also. We are connected to internet actually. Okay. So IoT is nothing but, extracting some kind of information from that sensor data actually. So, okay. So, even in these kind of techniques also, some kind of data science implementation is going on. Because see, when you extract the data from that kind of censored kind of devices, right? Especially we'll be getting the data in some kind of unstructured kind of format. Now I'll tell you what exactly is unstructured data. So typically we are having 3 different kinds of data types of data, guys. Okay. So structured data, semi-structured data, and unstructured data. So structured data in the sense, it has a proper predefined structure. Like say, for example, let me take the case of an SQL table. Okay. or an Excel file also. There the data is stored in some kind of neatly defined rows and columns, right? Okay, yes, that means it is having some kind of structure there. Okay, so that is a structured data. Now if you look at this semi-structured data, right? So say for example your XML data, your HTML data, so that's some kind of web data, okay, which resembles some kind of structure and unstructured data. Okay, so that is some kind of semi-structured data actually. Okay, again if you look at some kind of unstructured data, right? Okay, unstructured data. So the amount of unstructured data that we are getting, or we are generating today is more in number actually. Let me tell you the examples or the applications of that one. Now, say for example, your email data, your notepad. Okay, so for example, take the case of your notepad. So, do you think that notepad has any kind of structure? No, right? Okay, so your email data, whatever messages you are sending from your phone, that is an example of unstructured data. Okay, so you are having different applications like WhatsApp or whatever it's. So all those are unstructured data only. Whatever the data you're generating. Okay, Google search, that is unstructured data. Okay, again, if you take the case of social media data, you will be tweeting something over Twitter, you will be posting something over Facebook, or likewise you're having a number of social media platforms today. Okay, all those things comes under unstructured data. Again, you're having audio data, video data, okay, image data. All these things comes under unstructured data only. So as per a recent NASSCOM survey, NASSCOM is Indian governing body about this information technology and software. So, and the international development computing also, they told that whatever the data generation is going on today, it's more, 80% is unstructured data only. And 20% only we are dealing with structured data. 80%. So like I told you, only some, simple applications now. Now, say for example, so if you take the case of airport applications, right? They'll be using some kind of sensors. Data will be generating. You'll be going to a supermarket or say for example a retail market. Okay, so automatically using the barcode reader, right? Automatically the data will be entered there in their machines. So that is, there is some kind of data is getting generated, right? Okay, so likewise if you take the case of these things, right? Okay, lot and lots of unstructured data is getting generated. So how do you deal with that one? Okay, so this is where data engineers and data scientists are employed today actually in order to analyze that kind of data. First of all, data engineers are employed in order to extract those kinds of data, work on the data in order to clean the data, transform the data, again, analyze that data actually. Okay. Finally, make some kind of predictions or classifications, or say, for example, clusterings or whatever is your requirement actually. Okay. So that is why data scientist is needful job today actually. Okay. Now, so fraud and risk detection. Okay, as I told you, so and banking applications or hacking or whatever it is. Okay, even delivery logistics also. Okay, people are also using this in manufacturing sectors also. People are using now. Even if you take the case of automobile sectors also, we are able to hear about this concept cars, right? Automated cars, the driverless cars. Okay, so all these are the applications of AI. And data scientists, data science applications only. Healthcare, as I told you. So what is the probability of certain patient in order to get some kind of cancer-related diseases or heart diseases or say for example some other kind of diseases. Okay, so we can even estimate. We can even predict actually. Is chances of getting certain diseases actually. Like I told you, self-driving cars, automated cars. Okay, so all these are the different kinds of applications of data science and AI. Like I told you, augmented reality, it will be some kind of reality kind of game actually. Okay, fine. So virtual reality. Okay, so likewise, even if you take the case of robots also. Okay, robots, okay, it will speak to you. These kind of applications are coming up actually. Okay, so where you will be employing data science and some kind of AI kind of stuff actually. Okay, so importance of data. So today, if you look at this one, right, importance of data. So data science helps brands to understand their customers in a much enhanced and empowered manner. Because see, if I understand my customer, ultimately I can give him the right kind of product. If I give him the right kind of product, ultimately he'll be staying with me for a longer time. So what happens if I have that huge customer base, such kind of huge customer base, ultimately I'll be making good amount of sales, right? That means ultimately I'll be into profits, right? So this is what every organization today wants to implement data science practices and applications. Okay, so it allows brands to communicate their story in such an engaging and powerful manner. Big data is a new field that is constantly growing and evolving. Okay, its findings and results can be applied to almost any sector like travel, healthcare, and education, among others. Data science is accessible to almost all sectors. So this is the thing. Okay, so that's why data scientist job is the need of the hour, guys, because you people are most wanted in different sectors today, not just in IT sector. Okay, so that's why domain knowledge is also important. Because see, a data scientist is a person who will be having knowledge on various aspects, right? Like statistics, mathematics, programming. Okay, so all these kind of things. I mean, okay, apart from domain knowledge as well. So that is why. So based upon their requirement, I mean, so say for example, if you go to banking, right? Okay, so there the requirement is different. So you'll be implementing that kind of models, that kind of algorithms there. So it depends upon the kind of, I mean, industry or the kind of roles you're going into. Okay. Now, let me tell you something about AI. So practically saying, I mean, this machine learning, deep learning, I mean, reinforcement learning are all part of AI only. Now, let me tell you something, reinforcement learning. So reinforcement learning, I mean, it is also one of the popular learnings actually today, you know, where people are, I mean, different organizations are implementing. Like say, for example, I told you about the concept car, right? I mean, augmented reality, virtual reality, all these things comes under, reinforcement learning. Like say Tesla is the first company which has rolled out this concept car. Okay, again, Google concept car. We are able to hear about this one. Now in AI, we speak in most popularly, we speak some kind of terminologies called as agent and environment. Now, say for example, I'll tell you one use case study, real-time use case study. So, U.S. Defense Department, that is Pentagon, actually is planning, is implementing some kind of AI practices on robots, actually robots. So they want to employ that robots in war zones actually. Okay, they don't want to send the soldiers actually. So they want to employ that robots now. So I mean, so there the agent is a robot and the environment is a war zone. Now typically what you can expect from that robot, guys. So that means it need to identify who is a civilian and who is an armed person actually. Okay, that means I mean the probability of so it need to identify in that way. So if it needs to identify that one, right? So we need to train it in that kind of aspects, right? Okay. So that is where AI implementation is involved actually. Again, the same kind of robot which is working in bar zone, right? I can't expect it to bring a cup of coffee to me because see, there again the environment is different. So that's why this reinforcement learning involves lot of practice. Learnings actually. You need to train it in different aspects. Now, say for example, now I want to travel in a concept car that is driverless car. Okay. Like say for example, Tesla. Okay, I want to drive in that car actually. I want to reach to my destination. Say for example, from source to destination. So when I travel in that car, right? Okay, so it need to, identify different kinds of things. First of all, you need to train that particular car, that model on the different kinds of roads actually. Because I mean, if you look at our roads, right, it will be straight roads, it will be bumpy roads, it will be narrow roads, okay, it will be hilltop roads, okay. So it need to identify those things and it need to get trained on that one also. So organizations are also implementing those kind of techniques also, how we need to train in that kind of situations actually. Again, the real situation comes wherein it need to identify the traffic signals also. Now, say for example, if red signal falls, I mean, we know that we need to stop actually. Again, if orange signal falls, right, we know that we need to get ready. And if a green signal falls, we know that we need to move on actually. Okay. So how come you will put all this kind of intelligence into that machine? That means into that model actually. So this is where some advanced AI implementations are going on. Okay. Like in that concept car. So I mean, previously, I mean, we used to, watch this kind of concept car in only James Bond movies, right? So, okay. So, but today, I mean, it's into practicality. Okay. So Tesla, I mean, so they have designed such kind of concept cars actually. Of course, now, many different companies like BMW. I mean, if you take the case of Mercedes Benz, I mean, even Volvo, and these organizations are also coming up with this kind of, concept cars actually. So in future, we can see these kind of concept cars. I mean, okay. Fine. So AI, if you look at AI, right? So what exactly is AI? I mean, artificial intelligence. So, but what exactly is that one? So let us try to understand. Computers with the ability to mimic or duplicate the functions of the human brain. In simple words, let me tell you what exactly is AI. AI is nothing but mimicking human intelligence. Okay, that means a machine, that means a computer or a machine, okay, will be acting just like a human. That means it will be mimicking his functionality, our functionality. That means what exactly we do, what exactly we think, how we think actually, okay, so how we perform a task actually. So, we'll be training that computer or that machine, just like how we do actually, okay. So that means mimicking our behavior actually. Artificial intelligence is the intelligence of machines and the branch of computer science which aims to create it. The branch of computer science that is concerned with the automation of intelligent behavior. Automation. That means, see, because see, there is no human intervention involved in this one, guys. Okay, so the machine will try to identify the patterns on its own. It will discover the patterns on its own. It will try to figure out things on its own. Okay, so without any human intervention. Okay, so that is why people call it as automation also. Okay. Now, what exactly is intelligence? The capacity to learn and solve problems. Okay, so we'll be identifying, we'll be learning, and we'll be solving the problems. So even a machine should be able to do that one. Okay. So artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence is the simulation of human intelligence by machines. The ability to solve problems, the ability to act rationally, the ability to act like humans. Okay. The ability to act like humans. Just so how we act, I mean, how we think, how we take decisions. I mean, okay. So all those kind of intelligence you will be putting in that machine, or you will be putting in that model actually. Okay. So that is what is called as artificial intelligence. Okay. So the central principles of AI include reasoning, knowledge, planning, learning, and communication also, and perception also. That means imagination or whatever it is. Okay. So it is the science and engineering of making intelligent machines, especially intelligent computer programs. Okay. So we deploy or we employ various kinds of algorithms, okay, or practices in order to solve the real world problems actually. Okay. Now, if you take the history of AI, right, it was coined in 1950 itself. But at those point of time, we did not had the computing powers what we are having now. Now, say for example, I'll tell you a simple case, guys. Okay. So today you are able to get, I mean, 2 TB of RAM sizes or hard disk, whatever it is. Okay. So think about were you able to get the same kind of storage devices 10 years back? No, right? Okay. Fine. So that was, I mean, okay. So Arthur Samuel and some other kind of popular data scientists, I mean, they have coined this term, a terminology in late 50s itself, the 50s and 60s itself. Okay. So, but at those point of time, we didn't had any this, I mean, computing purpose actually. Okay. So that is why, I mean, so year on year and I mean, different decades, I mean, so the research were going on, and they came up with different kinds of storage and computing powers also, the advanced computing powers also. So the time when it was all started in 1950. So if you look at 1955, John McCarthy coined term artificial intelligence. So he was the person actually, John McCarthy. Okay. So 1974, computers became faster and affordable actually. Okay. 1980 is the year of artificial intelligence. That was the year actually where people, I mean, different organizations like IBM, Microsoft, and some other kind of organizations, they implemented some kind of this artificial intelligence applications actually. Okay. 2000, this is the landmark of AI establishments achieved. So today we are able to get different kinds of data products also. Data products in the sense now, say for example, Amazon Alexa, okay, Google Assistant. These are all data products only, right? Okay, so today you are able to get some different kinds of mobile phones also, where built-in these bots are coming up actually. Built-in different kinds of apps are also coming up, AI apps. Okay, so I mean those are all the data products actually. Okay, if you look at the early history, right? So 1950, English mathematician Alan Turing wrote a landmark paper titled "Computing Machinery and Intelligence." So that asked the question: Can machines think? Okay, can machines think? That means can it think in just like what we think, how we think actually. Okay. So further work came up out of a 1956 workshop at Dartmouth sponsored by John McCarthy. So he was the person, I mean, who coined this terminology actually, artificial intelligence. Okay. So if you take the applications of AI, right? So as I told you, I mean, people are implementing AI applications in different fields, I mean, different domains. Like it can be medicine, it can be banking, it can be automobile, or it can be manufacturing, it can be, or like say, for example, aircraft also, or it can be banking and financial institutions also, or it can be tech sector also, or it can be agriculture as well. Okay, even those, people are also implementing AI actually. Like say for example, if you take the case of gaming also, so people are also implementing here actually now. So these are the popular applications, right? Okay, Siri. If you take the case of Apple, it's Siri. If it's Windows, it is Cortana. I mean, Google Assistant. Okay, so likewise, you're having different kinds of AI bots also. Okay, the application of AI in medicine. Okay, so CRG, neurology. I mean, so these are implementing different kinds of applications. I mean, okay, these people are. So, I mean, these are only to, name a few guys. Like, say, for example, if you take, there are n number of applications, like credit granting. I mean, say for example, if at all I want to grant him some kind of loan, so I want to check his credit history. I mean, can it I mean, can I grant him loan or not? Okay. So information management and retrieval, AI and expert systems embedded in products. I mean, okay, product manufacturing and all those things also. Like, I mean, if you take the case of, right, okay, help desk and assistance, and even in today's clerical works also, some kind of automation tools are coming up. Okay. RPS, I mean, okay. Employee performance evaluation, shipping, marketing, warehouse optimization, okay. In space workstation maintenance, okay. Satellite controls. So where, I mean, these AI applications or AI algorithms are involved. So NASA, ISRO, these people will be using, okay. So network developments, nuclear management, okay. So all these are the different kinds of applications, to name a few actually. So researchers are going on, guys. I mean, so there is a lot of research going on actually in AI. I mean, how to use it in different kinds of applications or different kinds of domains in order to solve real world problems. Okay, like say for example, if you take the case of telecommunication or this, I mean, telecommunications, right? Okay, so people, I mean, telecom companies want employ this data science and AI implementations. Okay, in order to find out, I mean, the number of customers leaving that network. We call it as customer churn. Okay, because see, I mean, people, I mean, everyone is not happy with the kind of service they are getting, right? Okay, so some there will be good customers, there will be bad customers also. I mean, so we want to identify them. Okay, I mean, so likewise, I mean, if you take this case, right? Okay, so in telecommunications, I mean, people, I mean, organizations are employing in order to find out the customer churn action. Customer churn in the sense, who are the people? I mean, how many people are leaving the particular network actually? Okay, okay. So likewise, so humanoid robot and AI. Now, if you recently, if you, I mean, have an if you remember, in 2018, we had some kind of World Congress on Information Technology happened in Hyderabad. Okay. So there, I mean, we came to see about a robot called Sophia. I mean, okay, Sophia. So there is a humanoid robot, advanced humanoid robot actually. Okay. So, I mean, Sophia was activated on April 19, 2015 actually. So Sophia is a social humanoid robot developed by Hong Kong based company Anson Robotics. Okay. So she made her first public appearance at at South Korea actually by Southwest Festival in mid-March 2016 in United States. In October 2017, Sophia became a Saudi Arabian citizen, the first robot to receive citizenship in any country. Okay, so this was the case. In 2017, it even got citizenship actually. Okay, fine. So what we call PR today, right? Okay, so it even got citizenship in Saudi Arabia. Fine. So, and then 2018, in the month of February, actually. Okay, I still remember because I visited that one actually. So I participated in that WCIT, I mean Congress actually. So there we came to, know about this Sophia actually, this humanoid robot. It can even speak and it can even answer you whatever the questions you are, it is trained on actually. You're not telling that, I mean, it can answer any kind of question. It's not like that, but whatever things it is trained on, especially it can answer you whatever the, people, whatever they are searching today on internet and social media platforms also. It can answer all those kind of questions. Okay. So robotics and AI. So people are implementing this. Robotics is one kind of application of AI. I mean, it is one kind of application of AI. I mean, so future. Down the line, at least for a decade, AI will rule the world. Guys. I mean, that's for sure. Okay. So this is about data science and AI, guys. I mean, so data science is not only about data extraction or data cleaning or loading data or analyzing data. It is more than that one, because see, we implement data science practices on the data for different kinds of use cases actually, based upon different kinds of requirements, guys. Okay. Now, say for example, if your use case is to detect an image actually, object detection. Okay, we employ deep learning algorithm. Or say for example, if your use case is to predict something, we employ machine learning algorithm. Or say for example, if at all you want to compare the data, where we use some different kinds of analytics practices, again predictive modeling. Okay, so likewise, a data scientist is a person who need to know all these kind of things. Now let me show you something. Okay, So if you look at here, this is a Venn diagram actually. Okay, so if you look at here, so data scientist is a person. This is unicorn. Are you able to see this unicorn? This is the common part, right? Common to all the three circles actually. Okay, so this is he is a data scientist. That means he should have knowledge on this computer science. That means programming, subject matter expertise in the sense, I mean domain knowledge, as well as some kind of maths and statistics also. So again, machine learning, deep learning concepts. I mean, okay, so all these things we'll be learning of. Okay, so data science. I mean, okay. So what is the skill set required? I mean, especially if at all, I mean, if you are from computer science background, right? Okay, so I mean, it will be I mean, okay, you can do. I mean, even if you're from non-IT background, also, guys. I mean, even if you're from non-IT background, also, you can learn data science. It's not only, I mean, about only computer science or IT students, because see, here we employ different kinds of techniques, guys. Understand one thing. So remove that. I mean, confusion from your mind. Here we employ maths also. Here we employ statistics also. If you are an engineering student, if you're a science student, definitely you will be having. You are from a maths background, right? Okay, irrespective of whether you're from a computer science student or a mechanical engineering, I don't mind. I mean, okay, so people, I mean, still can learn data science, because see, I told you the various kinds of applications, right? Now if you take the case of automobile sector, people are, I mean, making out some kind of concept cards. It is related to automobile sector, is related to only mechanical or electrical kind of guys, right? Okay, especially mechanical. Now you might think, and what is the need for a computer scientist there? I mean, data scientist there. So you need to have some kind of domain knowledge also. Okay, so trust me, guys. I mean, Python is very simple to learn, and I mean, learning data science, making out your career in this field, can give you a fruitful career, a good future actually. Because see, down the line, at least for 10 years, I mean, AI and data science will rule the world, guys. I'm not saying this. You can make your own research on this one. Okay, Harvard University has also termed it as a sexiest job of 21st century. Okay, so like if you look at the different kinds of skill sets, right? We learn different kinds of things actually using Python, statistics, okay, and machine learning and all these things. I mean, okay, so learning these things is also very fun actually. Okay, because we'll be uncovering the things, right? Okay, so it will be some kind of fun actually. Only the thing is that you need to have the ability to always all keep on learning the things actually. That is only required actually. Okay, so linear algebra, multivariable calculus, probability and statistics, coding in at least one language, preferably Python or R, but I advise people to go for Python, SQL and Excel. Of course, these are the common things we'll be learning in our engineering days, right? Okay, so and linear algebra, multivariable calculus also, all these, I mean, we have learned all these things, I mean, okay. So only you need to know about these things. I mean, probability and statistics. Of course, yeah, I mean, this kind of probability also we have learned, but what kind of techniques we implement on the data, that we need to figure out. Now, if you look at statistics, right? So apart from descriptive statistics, we also implement inferential statistics also. Okay, so that things also we'll be learning. I mean, okay. Now, if coming to the kind of tool based and frameworks, right? Okay, so if it is in Python, right? So we generally use scikit-learn. In R, it is Carrot. Okay, again, for implementing deep learning, TensorFlow and Keras for deep learning and AI. I mean, if you go for big data, right, Hadoop and Spark, these are the different kinds of frameworks we are having. Okay, so this is what a data scientist is actually. This is what is data science. Okay, so making your career in this field will fetch you good amount of, I mean, not only package, it will give you a good growth as well. Because see, normal, if you look at a data scientist fresher and a normal software engineer, right? Okay, software engineers getting a 3 to 3.5 lakhs per annum. A data scientist salary, I mean, starting itself, it is 4 actually. Okay, 4, or in certain companies are also giving 5 and 5 plus also. So it depends upon what kind of skills you are having actually. Okay, it depends upon salary, depends upon your skills actually. What kind of skills, and what you can do actually. What kind of projects you have worked on, and what kind of knowledge you're having. So that is why you need to learn all these kind of things. I mean, okay. So this is what is data science and AI, guys. Okay. So we have started from right from the data. That is, after Python, we have started from right from the data, and we have seen the advanced applications of AI, and about we have also understood the importance of visualization also. Why visualization is also important for a data scientist. Okay. So all these are the different kinds of aspects in data science. Okay. Fine, guys. So that's from me. I mean, so if you have any questions, please let me know. So any questions, guys? Okay, in the chat box, guys, you can reach out to this numbers. I mean, so if at all you're having any queries, or if at all you want, you're interested to take this course or whatever it is. Okay. You can ask me questions, guys, regarding this field or whatever you are having. So one thing, guys, anyone can do this one. Okay, so don't put that confusion or that question in your mind. So as I told you, I explained you in different formats, right? So we employ different techniques and maths or whatever it is. Okay, so don't worry, even if you don't know programming. So I mean, Python will be learning from scratch, and it's very simple and easy to learn also. Okay, so if all machines are trained by AI to do human jobs, then there will be high rate of unemployment. What are your thoughts on this one? Okay, nice question. So one thing, guys, actually, let me tell you something. Okay, I mean, this is the most frequent questions asked in, even companies or also in general also. I'll tell you about this one. Now, say, for example, let me take the case of Google Assistant. Okay, Google Assistant or Amazon Alexa. Let me give you in simple words, actually. Now, I'll ask it, to find out some kind of route. Say, for example, you are going to somewhere, I'll ask it some kind of route. It can easily tell you. Or say, for example, if I ask it certain questions like who is the president or who is the prime minister of China or whatever it is, okay, it can answer you. But say, for example, if I ask like Google, can you tell me my account balance? Will it answer me? No, right? Okay, so that is where security is also implemented. Okay, so it's not about unemployment actually. It's about in what areas you're implementing, how you're implementing. That is important actually. Okay, it's not about unemployment. That is wrong actually. People will not lose any jobs. Of course, the only thing is that we are automating the tasks for which we need to learn this kind of things actually. Okay, so there is, I don't think unemployment will be there because see, today people are using, in companies also people are performing certain tasks, automating the task actually. So for which they are using this kind of things actually. Okay, now that is what the example I told you. If at all, I can know your account balance, right? I can easily hack your thing, right? I can know your data, right? Okay, so that is where security is implemented. Okay, it's not like that. Okay, so train the machines only to perform whatever task. We are intended to make it actually. Okay, that is only we do it for actually. Anyways, all the task it can't do, a machine can't do actually. We only train it for some kind of purposes, not all the things actually. Okay, fine. Any other question, guys? What about cyber crimes aided by AI? The safety standards will be a heavy pressure on companies. See, one thing I'll tell you guys, whatever the kind of application, whatever you implement, whatever you do it, okay, security is the prime concern, of course, but today, security is also implemented in such a way that, and of course, security levels are also implemented in such way, actually. If you take the case of cyber ops, okay, cyber operations, actually, where AI is also implemented in those kind of things, actually, okay. So people are designing, using these AI algorithms in such a way, where it is very difficult for that even to break that one actually. I'm not speaking in general about some other kind of things. Now, say for example, if you take the case of blockchain, okay. Now blockchain, there are also, they are using some kind of AI kind of algorithms there actually. Okay, blockchain. That is very tedious task for them to break that kind of code actually. Okay, so that is why some advanced applications are coming out actually for this security kind of things. Okay. Okay, any other questions, guys? Okay, fine. I mean,